IBF and get to see a wonderful factory environment and stuff. And so I want to begin by introducing Mike Bell, owner here of Bell Cabinetry and Design. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself, your business.
So we've been based here in Alpharetta for just a little bit over 30 years now, and before that the business was based in East Texas. And so my grandfather started it back in the 1950s.
Wow.
In a small town. And back then we did everything, you know, not only the cabinetry, but you essentially built the home in a small town. The oil bust hit East Texas in the 1980s. My grandfather had already passed away by then, but so we essentially lost just about everything. My father heard UPS was starting business in Atlanta, so he got in a van and drove out here and rebuilt the business from there. And in fact, he just retired this year, and so I'm now kind of sole running it. And I came back to the family business back in '03 to take over the cabinet business. There's also a stair and trim business that we still run as well, and which is essentially about half the company as well. So, but I just run the cabinetry part of it. We're 100% residential of what we do. So we focus on homes primarily in two segments. One is I'll call it the luxury townhome market. So these are townhomes that range from about $750,000 to $1.5 million. And so where you'll see Production Coach, that's where for that product mix that we do, which is an all frameless product. It's either plywood or a melamine particle board, either or, depending upon what their product is. The other half that we do is full custom, so it'll be either inset cabinetry or frameless cabinetry doing dado construction. And so you'll see it running on the right side of the plant, or the back side of the plant. And so it focuses exclusively on custom homes, and homes that will range in price from, let's say, $2 million to $75 million. So some of them get pretty obscene. So we do work all over the Southeast. I'd say about 60 or 70% of our work is in Atlanta. The other is in a combination of Florida and the Caribbean, where we'll ship those projects. So that's kind of the mix of what we do. We bought this building in '07, and again, we were just making custom cabinetry at the time. Around 2016, we were carrying a cabinet line at the time that was servicing a lot of those townhomes. And I got tired of dealing with it and the dealers and kind of always getting undercut. And so I said, well, forget this, I'm just going to make it myself. And so got with Styles, and we bought the work cell that you'll see in the back. And we've severely outgrown it now. And so that's what we're going to be changing significantly over the next year. So, so that line right there, for volume-wise, that little work cell actually creates 60% of our boxes. Not 60% of the revenue, but 60% of the boxes. And so that's kind of where we are right now, and as a company. So is that?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you again for allowing us to come in and see your great facility and your hospitality and all that kind of stuff.
I'd say right now we're a cabinet shop on steroids right now, and over the next year we're going to be transitioning just from being a shop to actually a manufacturer. So not only how we're operating, but like a different building and everything else that we're in the process of looking at. So our big key in working with both Planety and Production Coach has been to create the framework so that when we move, that we're set to go. And I'm very adamant about being paperless. I don't want any paper on the floor. And so everything that we try to do is paperless. So either touch screens or tablets all the way around, and so that we drive that pretty hard. Jeff Sheridan is our controller and manages everything on the backside. He's been very involved in the development of Planety for us, and of course Quentin is our rock star, and just kind of going from there. So, but you'll see we're busting at the seams down there. So we're way overgrown this facility. So, but anyway, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask.
That's awesome. Thank you. Just want to introduce a couple of teammates. Number one, Quentin Petty, owner of Techwood Manufacturing Systems. You'll hear on the tour and learn a little bit related to one of his technologies called Planety, for here to managing materials and those kinds of things. Also, In 2021, RSA started making a little bit of a transformation to not just focus on software, but also business services for customers. We've been helping a ton of companies get ERC tax credits, and we also have formed a great alliance now with Allstate. Matt is our rock star, I guess what you might want to call him there, for group health and employee benefits. Thank you for allowing us to come. If anybody doesn't know me, my name's Sean Mayberry. I'm the owner of RSA Solutions, and really appreciate you guys coming. Just a little bit of, I guess, housekeeping or what to expect on the tour. We'll begin by making our very first stop at engineering here at Bell. They're utilizing Cabinet Vision software for being able to create not only the designs, but of course the manufacturing data, and then our technologies, whether we're dealing with a Planity, Production Coach, or Planning Assistant, or utilizing, harnessing the data coming out of their Cabinet Vision. So we'll do a stop in engineering, and then we'll pause as we're going out to the factory on a kind of a nice landing area over the factory, do a little bit of discussion about what we're seeing happen, and then we'll make our way down to the shop floor and really begin at the beginning of processes. Where do things come into the building, and then end with how do they leave the building. So I think it'd be a good experience.
I work remotely, one in North Carolina, one in West Georgia, and the other even somewhere else. So, but everything, we are screen to machine, so a big part of our business is design. So we have a showroom down in Buckhead, which is where we do most of the interactions with our customers and meetings. And so like Zach here will produce a lot of those designs for the designers. And then ultimately it comes through what we call into our engineering phase. And so Richard and Ben is our lead engineer. Richard is my senior engineer. Both a wealth of knowledge between those two, and our engineer up in North Carolina do everything to send all of our stuff to the floor, plus as well keep both production and planning. So we try to, as much as possible, is not as much as possible. It's very heavy screw machines, and these guys will tell you I hate paper, and so we drive that all the way through as much as we can. So, but I don't know if there's any rocket science to it, but these guys work extremely hard. They're kind of the nuts and bolts of everything we do, the transition from the design, which we do very high level design, to the production floor.
Nice. Mike, one thing I failed to mention when we started, just assuming that everybody knew kind of a little bit about what we're going to see inside of a factory, probably most of you well versed with that, just a real light touch on what we can understand that technology might do for a business. For example, Mike was referencing Production Coach. So what kind of things might happen? Well, it might harness the manufacturing data from a CAD/CAM system, allow you to do a number of things, whether that's tracking out in the factory, whether it's sorting, whether it's kitting, whether it's staging, whether it's shipping, or even to the job site, and much more. Really, anytime that you scan a barcode, what do you want the software to do is primarily what Production Coach does. Companion of it, Planning Assistant, enables you also to be able to utilize the engineering data, but to help you back schedule based on your capacity and the load that you're putting on the system. So it makes it really nice so that you can manage the production that you're going to be running really well. And then of course Planity, I kind of skipped over a little bit too. We think about taking demand from something like an engineering system, making purchasing decisions, or allocating from inventory, or receiving, or transferring, moving to WIP, or checking out. And so when you kind of think about the three technologies working together alongside the CAD/CAM system, it gives you a lot of power to be able to control your manufacturing environment. Anything else we want to cover in here? Hey, thank you guys. Nice bird's eye view of a factory. Really kind of what you might want to notice is there's really two distinct lines here. They're custom line. I'm not saying all face frame, but a lot of face frame, very much custom items running down this portion of the factory. So you'll see a lot more standard equipment that is working, inside of the mill and doing various panel processing and preparation for paint. And then at the very far end of it, where you'll see more of the sheet stock, this is the studio line, as Mike mentioned, where they're doing nested base manufacturing, edge banding, bore and dowel insertion, sorting, assembly, QC, staging, and then shipping as we move our way across. Okay, so obviously we have a big dock door here. This is the receiving for primarily the sheet stock, items that are not necessarily for specific projects, but they're coming into this way, and we're going to have to kind of do a part one, part two to be able to show you where the board storage and that kind of stuff happens. But here at Bell, this is one of two receiving doors, and I'll specifically take you to the receiving door also for specialty project items. You know, they might be, you know, an appliance for a cabinet or whatever kinds of items that are going to get treated a little bit different. But everything comes in here and then is taken and moved over to the board storage. And so nice, easy access to be able to get stuff in and out. You can see from just the number of cabinets and parts and flow that they're processing a whole lot of sheets per day for sure. So we'll come back and we'll finish out just on the other side of this one, but if you will, we're going to skip one dock door and I'll take you and show you where they're receiving the specialty items. So here at Bell, they have a special designated area for project materials receiving, and so whether at this dock door or here, items are dropped and then they are transported into an area that we'll move to in the back where they'll be able to manage those things specifically for project. We'll get to see a little bit more technology as we move, but just so that you can see the flow of products in. So I'm just going to walk us right through here and we'll actually start seeing some computer screens. So when materials for projects have been received at the other dock, they're brought over here and then they're moved into specific storage locations. If you'll notice on the storage bins, there's QR codes on these, and so that makes it possible to track and determine where everything is. That also means that I could even have the same item in multiple locations but be able to manage that. You'll notice that here is a screen that Quentin is actually interfacing with that would be a Planety screen for the warehouse or the shop solutions. Here he has the ability to look into any bin to see what's there, or he has the ability to also look at any project and to see the specialty materials required. Selected on an item, and now you can see where that item is hosted. So whether it is a need for moving things into WIP or checking them out, or whether you're doing cycle counting to verify what you have, here we have a digital way to be able to help manage those items. You know, one of the things that I know Mike has talked about, a challenge for companies, is do we have everything we need to start production? And so being able to answer that question in a Friday meeting to know for sure, great that we can plan it, great that we can track it, but we got to make sure that we have all the items, and specifically the specialty items. Here at Bell, they're buying out a lot of their doors and drawers, and so those are actually coming into a separate warehouse from here about a mile up the road and being staged until the project is a little bit closer. So knowing that all of those things that are required, and you can see there's a great number of them here at Bell that they've got to be able to manage and work with. So anything else we should cover here?
Transfer down there.
Yeah, we'll do the transfer down there. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to move to the area where the sheet stock comes in, and also then where that sheet stock is being processed into production here for the the custom line. If you'll notice, we have board storage, and as they are utilizing materials for the custom line, it's being ran on this router, and you'll notice where Quentin is pointing, he now is selecting from sheet stock and relieving the sheet stock as they're doing process. So sheet stock material left-hand side, now that particular item is being relieved onto the right side. Yeah, now you're good. Here at the Wiki machine, we're doing panel processing for the studio line. If you'll notice, the machine is actually picking panels, moving them into place in order to do the processing. At the back side of this machine, it is offloading the sheets, or actually the parts now. And when we get to the other side of the edge bander, if you'll look in, you'll see that it's also automatically outputting the labels. In Production Coach, we're able to utilize the unique barcode, or the unique ID and barcode coming out of Cabinet Vision, so it's all synced really nicely together. But it starts here with the creation from sheets to parts. I just wanted to give you a little view. On the back side of the CNC, you'll notice that there is an image of the nest pattern, and you'll see that as parts are being processed, the labels are coming out of those with barcodes on them. They're moving into transfer carts and making their way to large screen up ahead where we're going to do sorting. For the term sorting, I want you to imagine that you're able to scan these random parts that are going through different processes, and Production Coach is going to organize those parts by product, showing you exactly what is ready to build and or what is missing from any of the slots. There's a number of configurations that you can have for that, but here at Bell we're using a fixed rack.
So I don't know if you want to, we had to do this temporary because they're working on the machine, so we swung it around.
Oh, it's perfect. That's perfect. So what you'll notice is when a part is scanned, he will receive a visualization that is now telling him which slot to put the part in. Literally without fully understanding a woodworking facility, scan a barcode and do what Production Coach tells you to do. And that makes it extremely valuable downstream, so that assembly's never starting to build on something that doesn't contain all of its products. So we have a new machine coming into place. There is a DrillTech D200 that they're working on installation, but you'll notice that the screens are mirrored with each other. So red indicates where we're going to place the part. When you see a screen that's green, that means that it has all of the parts for the assembly. And where you see a screen that is blue, that means you can click into that screen and either see what parts have already been scanned into it or what parts are missing from it. Also, at any or all of these screens for Production Coach, you can easily press a button or scan a barcode, and to be able to report a damaged part, which in the case of Bell, will send an automatic alert to engineering. So what I want you to notice that is different about the screen that you'll see here, while the people that are doing the sorting are seeing the progress that they're making, assembly is only seeing the cabinets that have all of the parts. They don't need to know what else is in process. They need to know what they can build right now. So parts have came out of the case clamp. So now we have a box, right? So at this particular station, by scanning any one of the part labels, it is now pulling up a 3D visualization of the product. It is showing you the part that was scanned. It is displaying for you all of the parts themselves, the sub-assemblies, meaning fronts or drawers, and the exact hardware that you need to utilize for this. By employing Production Coach's module for advanced voice and or video, you can have it also give you commands. So for example, use the hardware in a green box. That solved a major problem for one of our customers, that barely a difference between soft close and not. So really good things that you can do with instructions as well. Okay, so here we're seeing a number of things. What does that mean?
Wrong packing list.
Oh, very nice. Got it. So there's a couple of things that we're going to show here. First of all, the QC portion of it, when they have verified that a cabinet has been built, complete, doesn't have any problems, it's scanned and a product label is popping out, sticking it on, and so that is, of course, changing the status update for it. Here they're also utilizing the technology called packing list. So one of the things that Production Coach is famous for is ensuring that we never make an incorrect shipment. So the message that you're seeing on screen is actually a warning that if you try to scan something that is not part of a packing list, it's going to flag you to be able to say, hey, this doesn't belong on the truck. But it's a great way to ensure that before the truck door closes, that 100% of everything that you intend to be on the truck is there. Anything else here?
I scanned a good one now.
Okay, perfect. So it's giving us a visual now when we have scanned a proper item as part of the packing list. By the way, that packing list can contain not only cabinets, it could be molding bundles, hardware bags, whatever it is that needs to be part of a deliverable.
It printed the
Yeah.
label.
So just as an example, when this one is configured that when you scan to let it know that the QC is good, the product label comes out automatically, and that can contain whatever basic information that you want on your products. Anything else here?
It also updates the status.
Yep. Notice one other thing. There's a secondary monitor here that is actually displaying progress. And with Production Coach, you can have a secondary monitor at any station that you like, and it's used a lot of times to create cadence or pace. So Mike can give a goal here to say, hey, I want you to QC X number of cabinets per day, and you can even break that up into quarters of a day, and it will be giving the person feedback as to how they're doing. Notice that that 31% is in red. That means that they're behind the pace that was set. So it would display as green when they're ahead or on pace. It would display as yellow if they're getting just slightly behind, and then of course giving them feedback. You would be surprised what giving pace does for rhythm. Very big thing. So they're loading a truck here. So now we're near the end. So we have, so we have staged the orders. We know everything that is supposed to and not supposed to be part of it. There is a computer here, but it's just too tight for us to get to today to be able to see. So we did the scanning for shipping there. But of course you want to do the scanning as you're going into the truck instead of out here where then it might get lost or something else. Bell, they have a couple of spray rooms. As Mike probably alluded, they do some very high-end work in this area on the custom side of that, and that often requires finishing. And so we've got 2 spray booths, and then I won't take you into it, but we also have a drying room over here. And as we move then a staging, and as we move just a little bit more as you guys are making your way through, this particular room is utilized by Bell for items that everybody uses different terms, whether you want to call it rework, punch lists, whatever it is for the number of jobs that they have. So these are being treated very special to know that they're ready, being placed and ready to go back out to complete the install. Thank you for the hospitality. Really, really awesome to get to go through. It's nice at IWF to be able to go see some great technology, but you're just seeing it in a isolated kind of an environment. When you get to come here and see it from the, beginning of processes all the way through, that's really amazing.